The 1950s weren't just about rock and roll and drive-in movies. They were also the golden years of tractor innovation. Hidden behind the big names we all know today, there were tractors in the 50s that changed farming forever. Machines so clever, so ahead of their time, that many farmers still talk about them decades later. From experimental designs to workhorses that could outlast the toughest conditions, these forgotten tractors didn't just plow fields, they shaped American farming history. Stick around, because today we're uncovering 10 brilliant tractors from the 1950s you've probably never heard of, but farmers will never forget. Number 1. Oliver Super 88, 1954 to 1958. The Oliver Super 88 was one of those tractors that truly embodied the spirit of the 1950s farm boom. Solid, versatile, and built with enough innovation to outlast its competitors. Introduced in 1954 as part of Oliver's celebrated Super Series, the Super 88 filled the gap between smaller utility tractors and the large row crop giants that were starting to dominate the post-war market. Yet, despite its brilliance, it never gained the same legendary reputation as John Deere's 50 Series or International Harvester's Farmall 400, something many farmers still consider a historical oversight. At its heart, the Super 88 packed a 6-cylinder Waukesha engine that produced around 55 horsepower. This level of power may sound modest by today's standards, but for the mid-1950s, it was more than enough to plow, cultivate, and pull equipment on small to medium-sized farms. Farmers praised the Waukesha engine for its durability, smooth performance, and surprisingly low maintenance needs. Unlike some competitors, which were notorious for being temperamental in cold weather, the Super 88 was known for dependable starts and consistent operation in all conditions. Another standout feature was its advanced hydraulic system, which set it apart from many other tractors of the time. The live hydraulic system made attaching and using implements far easier, saving farmers both time and effort during the busiest seasons. This system also made the tractor much more versatile. One machine could switch seamlessly between tillage, mowing, or pulling wagons without frustration. Perhaps the most forward-thinking element, however, was Oliver's Live Power Takeoff PTO. While modern tractors all have this feature, back in the 1950s it was revolutionary. The Live PTO allowed implements such as balers, mowers, or combines to keep running even when the tractor itself stopped moving. For a farmer baling hay or chopping silage, this meant greater efficiency and less downtime. Styling also played a role. The Oliver Super Series tractors carried a clean, modern design that reflected post-war optimism. With its streamlined hood and bold green and yellow paint scheme, the Super 88 looked as strong as it performed. Farmers often remarked that it felt like driving something ahead of its time, especially compared to bulkier, less refined models from competitors. So why did the Super 88 not reach the same iconic status as Deere or IH machines? Part of it comes down to marketing. Oliver was a respected company, but never had the same dealer network or aggressive advertising campaigns as Deere or IH. As a result, many farmers simply didn't see as many Olivers on display or in action. Number 2. Case Model 400. If there was ever a tractor that represented the quiet strength of American farming in the 1950s, it was the Case Model 400. Introduced in 1955, the 400 wasn't flashy or overly hyped, but it delivered exactly what farmers needed: power, durability, and innovative features that made everyday work smoother. While John Deere and Farmall dominated the headlines, the Case 400 quietly earned its reputation as a serious workhorse. One of the most brilliant aspects of the Case 400 was its triple-range transmission. At a time when many tractors offered only a handful of gears, Case introduced a transmission that allowed operators to select from a wider range of speeds. This meant greater flexibility, whether the job required slow, steady pulling in the field or higher speeds for hauling loads down the road. For farmers juggling multiple tasks across the farm, this was a game-changer. The Case 400 also stood out for its power plant. Equipped with a rugged 4-cylinder diesel engine, it produced impressive pulling power while maintaining fuel economy, an increasingly important factor in the mid-1950s as fuel costs began to rise. Case also offered gasoline and LP gas options, giving farmers the ability to choose the engine that best fit their operation. This kind of adaptability made the 400 one of the most farmer-friendly tractors of its time. Comfort and usability were also central to its design. The operator's station featured improved visibility, making row crop work easier and less fatiguing. Controls were thoughtfully laid out, reducing the strain of long days in the field. These small touches may not have been flashy, but they reflected Case's understanding of what farmers really needed. In practice, the 400 was capable of tackling nearly any mid-sized farm task. From tillage to planting and cultivating, it could do it all with reliability. Farmers who used the 400 often remarked that it wasn't just strong, it was steady, predictable, and forgiving, which made it especially valuable for operations that relied on consistent day-to-day performance. Despite its brilliance, the Case 400 was overshadowed by the marketing giants of Deere and IH. Case lacked the advertising firepower of its competitors, and as a result, many farmers overlooked the 400 in favor of flashier models. But those who owned one knew its worth. Number 3. Cockshut 570, 1958 to 1961. The Cockshut 570 is one of those tractors that reminds us brilliance doesn't always come from the biggest companies. Built in Canada but sold widely in the US, the 570 was introduced in 1958 and quickly proved itself as a rugged, dependable machine that brought real innovation to mid-sized farming. The standout feature of the Cockshut 570 was its Perkins 6-cylinder diesel engine. Known for durability and torque, the Perkins engine gave the 570 excellent pulling power while maintaining efficiency. Farmers who used it often remarked that it could outwork tractors with higher rated horsepower simply because of the torque curve and reliability of the Perkins design. In an era when diesel was quickly becoming the fuel of choice, this engine gave Cockshut a serious competitive edge. The 570 also featured live hydraulics and live PTO, two features that were still relatively new in the 1950s. These made the tractor far more versatile in the field, allowing farmers to run implements independently of the tractor's motion and adjust hydraulics on the go. For operations that required baling, mowing, or cultivating, the Cockshut 570 provided a smooth, efficient experience that many farmers didn't want to give up once they had tried it. But perhaps what made the 570 truly stand out was its design. Cockshut hired industrial designer Raymond Loewy, the same creative mind behind locomotives, automobiles, and even company logos like Shell and Exxon, to give the tractor a modern, forward-looking appearance. The sleek styling of the 570 wasn't just about looks, it reflected the optimism and progress of the late 1950s. Farmers who bought the 570 didn't just get a strong machine, they got a tractor that looked as modern as the decade itself. Despite its brilliance, Cockshut was a smaller company compared to Deere, IH, or Case, and it didn't have the same market reach. The 570 sold well but never achieved widespread dominance. When White Motor Corporation eventually absorbed Cockshut, the brand slowly disappeared, leaving tractors like the 570 as reminders of its innovative spirit. Number 4. Massey Harris 50, 1955 to 1958. The Massey Harris 50, later rebadged as the Massey Ferguson 50 after the 1953 merger of Massey Harris and Ferguson, was one of the most practical tractors of the 1950s. While it wasn't the biggest or most powerful machine of its day, it was brilliantly engineered to give small and medium-sized farms exactly what they needed: versatility, affordability, and reliability. Offering around 37 horsepower, the MH50 was powered by either a Perkins diesel or Continental gas engine. Both engines had a reputation for being easy to maintain and dependable in daily use. This made the tractor especially popular among smaller farms that couldn't afford frequent breakdowns or complicated repairs. For many of these farmers, the MH50 wasn't just a tractor, it was the backbone of their entire operation. One of the tractor's greatest strengths was its versatility. The MH50 could be equipped with a wide range of implements, from front loaders to mowers and plows. This meant a single machine could perform the tasks of many, which was essential for smaller farms operating on tight budgets. It was also well suited for livestock farms, where chores ranged from hauling feed to mowing pastures. The hydraulic system on the MH50 was another highlight. It was smoother and more responsive than many of its competitors, giving farmers better control over implements and saving valuable time. This hydraulic system would later become a hallmark of Massey Ferguson tractors, setting a standard for ease of use and reliability that continues to this day. Farmers also appreciated the tractor's comfort and ease of operation. The controls were well laid out, and the visibility was excellent for row crop work. While it wasn't as powerful as some of the larger row crop machines from Deere or IH, the MH50 carved out a niche as one of the best all-around tractors for small to medium-sized farms. Number 5. Minneapolis Moline 445, 1956–1958. The Minneapolis Moline 445 is perhaps one of the most overlooked tractors of the 1950s, but it deserves recognition as a truly brilliant machine. Introduced in 1956 as part of the company's 4-star series, the 445 was aimed at farmers who needed mid-range horsepower in a tractor that was both versatile and dependable. What set the 445 apart was its range of engine options. Farmers could choose from gasoline, diesel, or LP gas configurations depending on their needs and fuel availability. This flexibility made the tractor accessible to a wide range of farms, from row crop operations to livestock farms. Its 4-cylinder engine provided a balance of power and fuel economy, giving farmers the ability to handle daily chores without excessive costs. The 445 was also equipped with live hydraulics, a feature that was still considered premium in the mid-1950s. This meant farmers could run implements more smoothly and adjust hydraulics on the fly. Combined with a comfortable operator platform and good visibility, the 445 was both practical and farmer-friendly. In terms of performance, the 445 delivered consistently. Farmers appreciated its steady pulling power and adaptability across a variety of tasks. While it may not have had the sheer horsepower of larger machines from Deere or IH, it made up for it with reliability and ease of operation. Despite its strengths, the Minneapolis Moline 445 never gained widespread fame. Minneapolis Moline was a respected company, but it lacked the market presence and aggressive advertising of larger competitors. As a result, the 445 was often overlooked in favor of more prominent models from Deere, IH, or Ford. Yet, those who owned a 445 knew its true worth. It was a dependable partner that could handle nearly any task thrown at it, day after day. For many smaller and mid-sized farms, the 445 was the perfect balance of power, affordability, and versatility. Number 6. Allis-Chalmers D14. When Allis-Chalmers introduced the D14 in 1957, it was more than just another mid-sized tractor. It represented the company's forward-thinking philosophy of combining reliability with innovation. Allis-Chalmers had already gained a reputation for creating farmer-friendly machines, and the D14 fit squarely into that tradition. It was designed to be versatile enough for general farming, while introducing engineering solutions that helped farmers save both time and effort. The standout feature of the D14 was its patented snap coupler hitch system. At a time when most farmers were still wrestling with bolts, pins, and chains to attach their equipment, the snap coupler system allowed them to hitch implements in minutes. All a farmer had to do was back the tractor up, and the attachment would snap into place. This system was not only safer, but also drastically reduced downtime during busy seasons. It served as a precursor to the 3-point hitch systems that would later become the industry standard. With roughly 34 horsepower, the D14 was no powerhouse compared to the giants of the era, but its reliability and usability made it a standout in its class. It could easily handle plowing, cultivating, mowing, and even some light hauling. Its compact frame also meant it could navigate smaller farms and tighter row crop fields, making it ideal for diversified farming operations. Another aspect that made the D14 brilliant was its operator comfort. The platform was designed with easy-to-reach levers and good visibility, reducing operator fatigue during long days in the field. Farmers also appreciated its efficient fuel use and low maintenance requirements, qualities that made it a favorite among budget-conscious farm families. The D14 wasn't just about raw muscle, it was about smart engineering. It proved that tractors didn't have to be the biggest to be the most effective. While the model only remained in production until 1960, it left a lasting mark on farming technology. Today, collectors and small acreage farmers still seek out the D14 for its simplicity, ingenuity, and rugged dependability. It remains a reminder that in the tractor world, brilliance often comes in mid-sized packages. Number 7. Farmall 350. By the time the Farmall 350 rolled onto fields in 1956, International Harvester's Farmall line was already legendary. Known for their reliability and dominance in row crop farming, Farmalls were almost synonymous with American agriculture. Yet the 350 part of the 50 series never achieved the fame of its bigger brothers like the Farmall 400 or 450. Despite being overlooked, it was a brilliantly practical machine that delivered exactly what farmers needed. The Farmall 350 was powered by a 4-cylinder gasoline or diesel engine, producing about 40 horsepower. For a mid-sized farm tractor, this was the perfect balance of strength and efficiency. It had enough grunt to pull 2 or 3 bottom plows, power implements through its live PTO, or handle daily chores like mowing, cultivating, and hauling. What really made it stand out, however, was its torque amplifier TA transmission. The torque amplifier was a clever innovation that effectively doubled the number of working speeds available without forcing the operator to stop. This allowed farmers to shift on the move, making it far easier to adjust to varying field conditions like soft soil, hills, or heavy loads. It gave the 350 an edge in versatility and efficiency that few tractors of its size could match. Another brilliant feature was its live PTO and optional power steering, both of which were becoming must-haves for serious farmers in the 1950s. Live PTO meant that implements could continue running even when the tractor was stopped, a game-changer for tasks like baling hay. Meanwhile, power steering greatly reduced operator fatigue, especially during long days cultivating rows or hauling wagons. Though the Farmall 350 was overshadowed at the time by the higher horsepower 400 and 450, it carved out a niche as a reliable and affordable alternative. Many small and mid-sized farms found it to be the ideal workhorse, capable of handling a wide variety of tasks without unnecessary complications. Today, the 350 is remembered by collectors and vintage tractor enthusiasts as one of the more underrated Farmalls. It may not have been flashy, but its combination of smart engineering, reliability, and affordability made it brilliant in its own quiet way. Number 8. Ford 801 Power Master, 1957–1962. The Ford 801 Power Master was introduced in 1957 as a successor to the successful Ford 800 series, and it quickly proved itself as one of the most innovative tractors of its time. While Ford's earlier N-series tractors like the 8N had already achieved iconic status, the 801 Power Master represented a new level of capability, blending power, comfort, and advanced features that pushed the boundaries of 1950s tractor design. The Power Master came equipped with a 4-cylinder engine that produced up to 62 horsepower, a significant jump from earlier Ford models. This power allowed it to handle a wide range of farm tasks, from heavy plowing to haymaking. Farmers particularly appreciated the tractor's fuel economy, which was competitive with larger machines while still offering plenty of muscle for general farming. One of the most brilliant aspects of the 801 Power Master was its Selecto Speed transmission. This was Ford's attempt to bring cutting-edge automotive technology into the tractor world. With 10 forward and 2 reverse speeds, it allowed operators to change gears without clutching, a revolutionary idea at the time. Farmers could seamlessly adapt to different field conditions, making the tractor both versatile and efficient. Though Selecto Speed had its critics due to maintenance concerns, it marked an important step toward the modern continuously variable transmissions we see today. The 3-point hitch system, another Ford innovation from earlier years, was carried over and improved in the 801 series. This gave farmers access to a huge range of implements, enhancing the tractor's adaptability for plowing, cultivating, mowing, and hauling. Ford also improved operator comfort, offering better visibility, easier-to-reach controls, and an overall more ergonomic design. While the Power Master may not be as fondly remembered as the Ford N series, it was an essential bridge between the old-school tractors of the 1940s and the modern multi-purpose machines that would dominate in later decades. Its combination of power, versatility, and forward-thinking engineering makes it one of the most brilliant yet often forgotten tractors of the 1950s. Number 9. John Deere 720 Diesel, 1956 to 1958. John Deere 720 Diesel stands as one of the last great 2-cylinder tractors. And while it doesn't always get the attention of the company's earlier models like the 620 or the later new generation tractors, it was a groundbreaking machine in its own right. Launched in 1956, the 720 was the most powerful two-cylinder tractor Deere had ever produced, boasting up to 65 horsepower. At a time when many competitors were moving to multi-cylinder designs, Deere's engineers managed to extract remarkable performance from their tried-and-true two-cylinder architecture. Farmers praised the 720 diesel for its fuel efficiency, torque, and durability. One of the tractor's most brilliant innovations was its pony motor starting system. Diesel engines of the 1950s were notoriously hard to start in cold weather, so Deere equipped the 720 with a small gasoline-powered pony motor that helped warm and spin the big diesel engine before ignition. This made starting the tractor far easier and more reliable, especially in northern climates where cold starts could otherwise delay work. The 720 also came equipped with live PTO and improved hydraulics, which significantly expanded its ability to handle modern implements like balers and loaders. These features, combined with its raw pulling power, made it a versatile machine that could serve both large-scale and mid-sized farms. Despite its brilliance, the 720 is often overlooked because it marked the end of an era. By the early 1960s, Deere was preparing to transition to its new generation line, featuring multi-cylinder engines and sleeker designs. As a result, the 720 sometimes gets lost in the shuffle, remembered more by collectors than by casual enthusiasts. Yet those who used it knew its worth. A rugged, fuel-efficient, and powerful tractor that could outwork many of its contemporaries. Today, the 720 diesel is celebrated by restorers as a symbol of Deere's engineering genius during the twilight years of its two-cylinder legacy. Number 10. Cockshut Golden Eagle 40. The Cockshut Golden Eagle 40 is perhaps one of the most visually striking tractors of the 1950s. Released in 1955, it was essentially a rebadged version of the Minneapolis Moline UB, but with Cockshut's own styling and features that made it unique. While it was not a high-volume seller, its combination of performance and design brilliance has cemented it as one of the most fascinating tractors of its decade. Under the hood, the Golden Eagle 40 offered up to 52 horsepower, powered by Minneapolis Moline's proven engine technology. Farmers valued its reliable performance for plowing, cultivating, and powering a variety of PTO-driven implements. Like other Cockshuts of the time, it came equipped with live PTO and hydraulics, features that set it apart from many competitors who were slower to adopt such advancements. What truly made the Golden Eagle stand out was its styling. While most tractors of the era were painted in utilitarian reds or greens, Cockshut boldly introduced a striking gold and red paint scheme. It wasn't just about looks, though. The styling reflected a company determined to make tractors that farmers could be proud of both on and off the field. Its modern, sleek design turned heads at farm shows and dealer lots, giving the tractor an aura of prestige. Despite these qualities, the Golden Eagle never achieved mass-market success. Cockshut, as a smaller Canadian manufacturer, couldn't compete with the marketing and dealer networks of giants like Deere and IH. However, for the farmers who owned one, the Golden Eagle was both a capable workhorse and a badge of individuality. Today, collectors prize the Golden Eagle 40 not just for its rarity, but also for its blend of performance and style. It represents an era when smaller tractor companies dared to be different, offering farmers machines that weren't just tools but also statements of innovation. Forgotten by many, the Golden Eagle remains a brilliant example of how function and form can come together in farm machinery. Those were the 10 forgotten tractors from the 1950s that proved just how smart and tough American farm machines could be. They may not be rolling across fields anymore, but their impact is still alive in the tractors we see today. Which one of these tractors surprised you the most? Or maybe you grew up around one of them on your family's farm. Share your memories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more tractor history, and ring the bell so you never miss our next video. Until next time, keep those engines running and keep history alive.